The rain hammered against the towering glass walls of Langford Global Headquarters, turning the streets of Manhattan into shimmering rivers of reflected lights. Inside the 48-story building, everything moved with military precision. Receptionists greeted guests with flawless smiles, assistants rushed between offices carrying tablets, and security personnel guided a steady stream of candidates toward the executive conference floor. Today was unlike any other day. The company was searching for its next chief operations officer, a position responsible for overseeing thousands of employees and billions of dollars in projects across the world. More than 500 applications had been narrowed down to 10 elite finalists. Every candidate held degrees from prestigious universities. Every resume glittered with promotions, awards, and leadership experience. At the center of it all sat Victoria Langford. At just 39 years old, Victoria had transformed her father's struggling software company into one of the world's fastest-growing technology empires. Business magazines called her the Iron Queen of Silicon Valley. Investors admired her discipline. Competitors feared her. Employees respected her but rarely saw her smile. People often whispered that Victoria could decide whether someone belonged in her company within the first 30 seconds of meeting them. She believed success came from intelligence, preparation, and relentless discipline. Feelings rarely entered her decisions. At exactly 8:15 a.m., she stepped out of a black luxury sedan wearing a charcoal business suit and carrying a leather portfolio. Cameras flashed from reporters waiting outside. "Ms. Langford, who do you think will become your next COO? Any hints about today's interviews?" She acknowledged no one. Her heels clicked confidently across the marble lobby as dozens of employees instantly straightened their posture. "Good morning, Ms. Langford." "Morning." She disappeared into the executive elevator without breaking stride. Meanwhile, across town, another morning had begun very differently. Ethan Carter gently pushed open the bedroom door of his tiny apartment. "Good morning, sleepyhead." A small voice answered from beneath a blanket. "5 more minutes, Daddy." He laughed softly. "You said that 10 minutes ago." 6-year-old Lily finally peeked out, her messy brown hair covering half her face. "I'm awake. You promised we'd leave early." She stretched dramatically before wrapping her arms around him. "Can we have pancakes this weekend? If I finish enough repair jobs." She smiled. "Deal." Their apartment was small but spotless. The furniture had been repaired countless times by Ethan's own hands. The kitchen table had scratches hidden beneath fresh varnish. The old refrigerator hummed loudly every few minutes, yet it continued working because Ethan refused to replace something he could still repair. After losing his wife, Emma, to cancer 3 years earlier, Ethan had learned to stretch every dollar. He repaired washing machines, refrigerators, coffee makers, ovens, anything people were willing to pay him to fix. Some days he earned enough. Other days he skipped lunch so Lily never had to. As breakfast cooked, Lily climbed onto a chair. "Daddy." My teacher says career day is next month." "That's exciting." "They asked what my hero does." Ethan smiled. "What did you tell them?" "I said my daddy fixes broken things." His eyes watered slightly. And he fixes hearts, too." He looked at her, confused. "How do I do that?" "When mommy got sick, you always made her laugh." Ethan looked away for a moment, hiding tears. "You remember that?" "I remember everything." He knelt beside her. "The only heart I really try to fix is yours." She hugged him tightly. After breakfast, Ethan packed his worn toolbox into the back of his aging pickup truck. The vehicle had nearly 200,000 miles on it, but thanks to constant maintenance, it still ran faithfully. Just before leaving, his phone rang. "Mr. Carter." "Speaking." "This is Langford Global Headquarters. Our executive coffee system has completely failed. We have an emergency meeting this morning. I'll be there within 45 minutes. We'll pay double. I'll leave now." Normally, Ethan would have taken Lily to school first. But her school happened to be only 3 blocks from Langford Global's headquarters. He decided to bring her along. The drive through Manhattan traffic felt endless. Lily quietly colored in a notebook while Ethan concentrated on the road. "You nervous?" she asked. "It's just another repair." "Then why are you sighing?" He chuckled. "Because rich companies usually expect miracles. You always do miracles." "I just tighten screws." When they finally reached the towering headquarters, Lily stared upward through their windshield. Whoa! The skyscraper disappeared into the clouds. "It looks like a castle." "It kind of does." Inside the lobby, polished marble floors reflected sparkling chandeliers. Employees hurried past carrying expensive laptops and designer coffee cups. Lily instinctively reached for her father's hand. "So shiny," she whispered. The receptionist smiled politely. "You must be Mr. Carter." "Yes, Perfect timing." She handed him a visitor badge. Because the building's interview schedule had been imported incorrectly after a software update earlier that morning, Ethan's maintenance request had accidentally merged with the executive interview list. His visitor badge displayed one simple line: "Candidate, executive floor." Neither Ethan nor the receptionist noticed. "Take elevator A." "Thank you." As Ethan and Lily walked toward security, another employee hurried over. "Mr. Carter." "Yes." "They are already waiting upstairs." "For the coffee machine." "So you know." Ethan nodded uncertainly. "I suppose." The employee smiled nervously. "Please don't keep Ms. Langford waiting." Ethan frowned. "I won't." Security scanned his badge. Executive access approved. One guard even straightened his uniform. "Good luck, sir." Ethan exchanged a puzzled glance with Lily. "They are taking coffee very seriously." Lily giggled. The private elevator rose silently toward the executive floor. As the doors opened, several board members waiting outside immediately stood. "There he is." One assistant whispered, "He doesn't look anything like his resume photo." Another frowned. "Maybe it's an old picture." Ethan looked around in confusion. "I'm actually here to repair." "This way, please." Before he could finish explaining, he was escorted toward the largest conference room in the building. Inside, Victoria Langford reviewed the final interview notes on her tablet. Without looking up, she said calmly, "Send in our first candidate." The massive wooden doors opened. Victoria lifted her eyes. Instead of an impeccably dressed executive, she saw a tired-looking man carrying a heavy toolbox. His shirt sleeves were rolled to his elbows. His shoes were worn. A little girl stood quietly outside the glass wall, hugging a stuffed rabbit while watching her father with complete trust. Every executive in the room froze. One director blinked twice. Another quietly whispered, "Is this some kind of social experiment?" Victoria slowly placed her tablet on the table. Her expression remained unreadable. "Mr. Ethan Carter." "Yes." "You've come for the interview." Ethan hesitated. "I honestly don't think so." The room fell completely silent. For several long seconds, no one spoke. The silence was so complete that Ethan could hear the soft ticking of the expensive wall clock behind the boardroom table. Victoria studied him carefully. She had spent years reading people, searching for the smallest clues that revealed confidence, arrogance, fear, or deception. Yet the man standing before her displayed none of the polished confidence she expected from executives. He simply looked confused. "I think," Ethan said politely, "there's been a misunderstanding. I was called here to repair a coffee machine." The human resources director hurriedly opened the digital interview schedule. His face immediately turned pale. "Oh no. What is it?" Victoria asked. "There was a system synchronization error this morning. The maintenance request and today's executive interview list were merged together." Several executives sighed in frustration. One of them chuckled quietly. "So our first candidate is actually the repairman." Another laughed under his breath. What an unbelievable mistake. Ethan immediately picked up his toolbox. I'm very sorry for interrupting your meeting. I'll fix the machine and leave. He turned toward the door. Just then, a tiny voice came from outside the glass wall. Daddy. Lily smiled nervously. I'm okay. Ethan smiled back with the warmth only a loving father could show. I'll just be another minute, sweetheart. Victoria noticed something she hadn't expected. Despite standing in one of the most intimidating boardrooms in the city, Ethan wasn't embarrassed about his daughter being there. He wasn't pretending to be someone he wasn't. He simply cared that she felt safe. Before anyone could speak again, an assistant accidentally bumped into the refreshment cart while gathering coffee cups. A full mug slid across the polished conference table. Dark coffee rushed toward several open laptops connected to the company's investor presentation system. No, someone shouted. Everyone stood at once. But they froze. Nobody moved quickly enough. Ethan reacted without thinking. He dropped his toolbox, grabbed a stack of folders, blocked the coffee's path, unplugged the power strip before the liquid reached it, lifted 2 laptops to safety, and used a towel to absorb the remaining spill. The entire incident lasted less than 10 seconds. The IT director stared in disbelief. If those systems had short-circuited, our investor presentation would have been destroyed, another executive finished. The assistant looked horrified. I'm so sorry. Ethan smiled kindly. It's all right. He knelt beside the frightened young assistant. Accidents happen. Instead of blaming her, he quietly helped clean the table. Victoria watched every second. Most people revealed their true character during unexpected moments. Ethan hadn't tried to impress anyone. He had simply solved the problem. When everything was clean again, Victoria spoke. Mr. Carter. He looked up. Please, sit down. He blinked. I'm not applying for a job. I know. She folded her hands. But I'd still like to ask you a few questions. The executives exchanged confused looks. One whispered, Is she serious? Victoria ignored them. Ethan hesitated. I don't want to waste your time. I'll decide what's a waste of my time. He smiled politely and took a seat. His toolbox rested beside his chair. For the next 30 minutes, Victoria asked questions unlike any normal interview. If people refuse to follow your instructions, what do you do? Ethan answered honestly. I'd first ask why. Why? Because people usually have reasons before they have excuses. A few executives quietly stopped typing. Another question came. How do you motivate people? I don't think motivation lasts. Victoria raised an eyebrow. What lasts? Feeling respected. Silence settled across the room. She continued. Tell me about the hardest leadership decision you've ever made. Ethan looked down for a moment. My wife passed away 3 years ago. The room became still. I wanted to quit working. He paused. I couldn't. Why not? My daughter still needed breakfast the next morning. His voice never shook. She still needed help with homework. She still needed someone to read bedtime stories. He smiled softly. So I got up. No dramatic speech. No attempt to earn sympathy. Only quiet truth. Victoria leaned back in her chair.